Okay, so I know some people are like, "Oh my God, that was 7 minutes of introduction." You can hold that. I'm joking. It's the laptop is my laptop is in shambles, and even when you're live, you can be live, and in the background you try fix it. So my laptop is in shambles. I ordered a desktop on the 4th, and it's still not here. They say it's been delayed because of weather in Germany. So with this stream, I might just reset up, put everything in a hard drive, and then the whole laptop. I think that's the only solution. But can you hear me? Apologies for keeping you this long, but at least there is 31 of you who've joined us. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Join the True City Fan channel family or TCF for short. But today I'm joined by the amazing Carl, aka Gondorodian, aka Pitch Points, and then I'm joined by where is she? Let me see if I can get her here before I introduce her, because the thing is also freezing. So we'll wait as we introduce her. But anyway, I'm also joined by the always happy and always full of joy who now has flashed in. And I hope you guys can hear me. And I know it might be freezing, but it is what it is. We will stream how we will stream. We'll find a solution. When I'm done with this stream, so that's not going to do. That's the other solution. But anyway, so the title of this is why Man City have so many injuries. And yeah, it's bad right now. Akanji has just been announced that he's injured. Obviously, I think Kilster was mentioning this over and over that this guy is playing injured eventually. This guy is going to what? This guy is going to get injured. And look, it's happened and now it's gone for the rest of the season. Kao, are you with us here? Anyway,
yes, I'm here.
So you've heard, yes, yeah, so yeah, we can hear you now. So I'm saying, yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. We can hear you in 4K, in 4D. We can hear you. So I'll start with you, Carl. You've heard the news Akanji is injured for the rest of the season. Something which I'm pretty sure you already saw.
Honestly, there's just too many games. These players are playing every 3 days. They're playing for their country. They're playing. There's just too many games, and FIFA keeps inventing new tournaments and expanding the current ones. Like, why do we need more Champions League games? Why do we need the Nations League? The Nations League is completely pointless. There's literally no excuse to have that. They just want money. It's a lot of greed. They just need more money. They need more games. This whole new Club World Cup. Why do we need a summer tournament? Why don't these players ever get time off? Like, as much as I rag on MLS here in the United States, at least they get like a 2 or 3 month break every year. Like their season it's starting like right now, but it ended back in like October, November-ish. So they've been off since then. They're literally not doing anything except maybe if they get called up for their country during an international break. Meanwhile, like, our squad is also made up of basically the entire squad plays for their country. So they have to go to all these international games. They have to go to international tournaments over the summer. So these guys are barely getting a month off. They're just constantly playing and their bodies are breaking down. Like, these are human beings. They're not machines. Like, we're seeing what's happening. Like, we're seeing a lot of devastating injuries. There's been a lot of hamstring tears lately, a lot of ACLs. Almost every week somebody gets an ACL. And that's devastating. Yeah. I know the technology has improved, but that's a whole year off of your career. Yeah. And there's just too many games and not enough rotation.
Well, I want to build upon the second part of what you just talked about not enough rotation. I ask you this question. I mean, for Akanji to be out for the season, essentially, that's 4 to 5 months this year, which means that he clearly was on a red line before that Madrid game. Clearly was on the red line, right? It wasn't an impact injury. It wasn't like, something happened and someone hit him or no, right? He was clearly on the red line. So my question is, if he's on the red line, why are you playing this guy when you have 2 center backs that you just bought in January who are younger, who hasn't played as much this season? Why didn't you play them instead? What
I've
are
been
you
wondering the same thing.
you
And also
afraid
to
of?
ask somebody who's injured to guard Vinicius is suicidal. Like that's
You
just
know,
stupidity.
what is it that you are so afraid of that you cannot say, you know what? The season is a season. It is what it is. We're going to go with you young guys. Go there and enjoy yourself. We may not win anything this season, fine, but it's an experience for you. Now, Akanji's injured for the rest of the season. Now you have to go to the players who you're running away from that you didn't want to use. I go back to the source, and the core issue at hand is my lovely manager and these decisions.
Small
Nobody
squad.
understands it. Nobody does. Nobody does. It
His
doesn't make any sense.
reluctance.
What
His reluctance to
you have
rely
a,
on anybody
you
else.
say you like
at
a
all
small
this
squad,
season.
right? Where I call a small squad FC, right? You want a small squad. You flog these guys year after year after year. They play game after game after game. I want a small squad. I want a small squad. I want a small squad. What do you expect to happen with that many games and a small squad? They're going to get injured.
And also, they're not recovering fully from their injuries because Akanji first got injured at Spurs in the cup game back in October. He's been playing injured ever since.
It's
He plays every game. I understand not being able to rotate him as much before January when you didn't have players come in, but we spent 60 million on 2 defenders. It's time to use them.
It doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make sense at all. And the fact that, unfortunately, I'm not on the computer. I've gone on the phone now because the computer is now still acting up. It's gonna get what is coming to him now. It's gonna get erased. But anyway, what was I about to say? The thing is, he keeps saying, "Oh, I want."
This is not a pep out stream for that comment.
Yeah. What did he say? Another pep out? No, there's no.
This is not a pep out stream.
No, but nobody ever wants pep out. The thing is, he keeps saying every time he's like, "Oh, I wish I want my players back." We get that you want your players back, but when you get them back, right? You've got kids on the bench or youngsters or youth. Even the fact that every time I seem to throw Nunes into midfield, everybody keeps making a comment saying this and this. I get it, but understand this: he is a midfielder. We've seen him play for Sporting. We've seen him play for Wolves. We've seen him play, but he hasn't got the opportunity here. And this thing where there's an obsession saying, "Oh, I know." I also used to say it that even I think Kawa said it, Kilster said it. We've both said that he has a bad first touch. But at this point in time, guys, Silva has a bad first touch. Gundogan is stinking the midfield and giving away the ball. Just play the guys with energy. Play him next to Nico. Carl, why doesn't he just play him next to Nico? Nico is 23 years old. Nico is a defensive midfielder.
because Patrick.
Tell Nunes, do what you did at Sporting, do what you did at Wolves. You sat next to a defensive midfielder.
Because it is fear. It's fear. It's fear, it's uncertainty, it's what you don't know. You're so used to this cadre of players that I'm going to flog them no matter what happens. Rather than use Kusanov or Hayes, who you bought in January, you go back to Akanji and hope that somehow, Manu is going to figure it out and be able to weather the storm, even though he's probably a red line. And then he goes off injured. And then, okay, he goes off injured. Fine. It happens. What do we do? What's the closest thing we have to physicality and sprints and defensive ability on the ball and off the ball?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to put Rico Lewis at right back against Vinicius Jr. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to ask Rico to invert into midfield where we have the ball. But when we lose the ball, I know Vini is going to be wide left. And all they have to do is pass the ball once to him. And Rico is out of position. And it's 1v1 against Diaz. Yes, that's what we're going to do. Because we are too smart. We're too good. I'm too much of a genius. I'm going to do this false fullback inverted with Rico, who's good on the ball, not quite good enough to be a midfielder, not quite good to be a defender. That's what I'm going to do. But you have a 2-1 lead, a 1-0 lead, close the shop. Put a Kusanov who will batter Vinny Jr., who will knock him off his stride, who will bully them. He makes a mistake, so what? You still lose the game. No.
He might learn from that mistake too and become a better player because of it.
There's some real problems that when you look at it, you say, something ain't right here. Something is not right. It ain't right. I'll say
further
this again,
something.
Kelster. I'll say this again. I was at the stadium. I will never forget this. I was at the stadium for the Feyenoord game. I will never forget. It's 50-something minutes. I'm in the stand watching the game. I'm with my little boy. And he's making those changes. I'm like, why is he making a change at 50-something minutes? What's going on here? Let's have some more. Let's get to 60, 70 minutes. And boom, 3 goals going. Shaking my head off the field like, what the hell was that about?
Also, another point that has to be made is we allegedly paid extra money to get Victor Hayes out of Palmeiras in January. They wanted him to stay for Club World Cup.
Yeah.
And we paid money. Excuse me. Oh, I just lost my voice. Sorry.
Drink some water. Drink some water. Drink some water. Drink some water.
Okay, can I talk? Oh, that was weird. I just had something like, I don't know. Okay, anyways, now I can talk.
Drink
So we
some
paid
water.
extra money to get him out early because we insisted on having him now. So if he sits on the bench when we paid extra money to get him here now, then that is just complete negligence and mismanagement of the squad. I get that Pep loves his guys, but it's time to move on from them. It is. They're out of gas. And we know it's coming. We know John Stones will get injured, and we know Nathan Ake will get injured. And I hate to say it, but we know Ruben Diaz will get injured.
Yeah, so
if they're all injured at the same time, he has no choice. But I don't want it to get to that point.
Yeah, but
start getting in Husinov now. Like I want him to start as center back next to Diaz on Saturday. John Stones can play right back. And he can invert. He can do that inverting into the midfield thing from right back position.
Mm-hmm.
Let Husinov play next to Diaz so Diaz can hold his hand. He can get comfortable. I know it's a tough game, but we don't have a choice here. Like Husinov needs to get to get in this game now.
Well, Kelso, what I mean, he has no choice now, does he? For the second one.
Oh no, he'll just I think he will literally wait until everybody's injured. That's what I'm starting to think now. He's literally going to wait for Diaz, Stones, and Ake to all get injured at the same time.
He'll probably play Nunes and Diaz center back, and then play Rico right back and Guardiola.
He'll put Joshko as a center back, and then I can imagine him doing something like Joshko, Diaz, Rico, Nunes, like something stupid like that.
Yeah, I don't understand. I
really don't get it. I don't know how Nunes is all of a sudden player number one as a defender when he's not a defender. Also, we need to remember Husinov it's not like he's fresh out of the academy. He's been playing in France for a year and a half. So he has professional experience. It's not, I get not wanting to throw, Jemai Simpson-Puzzi in there because he's, 18 and from the academy, but Husinov does have some experience, maybe not at Premier League level, but he does have actual experience, playing in Ligue 1, and he has played in the Champions League before. He played against Arsenal last year for a little while. So he has experience. Use it.
Kilkster, I've got a question for you. No, actually, not a question. I wanted you to stick to that point, and I think Carl, you're gonna also agree on this. I wanted you to stick to that point, right, where you're saying they bought Victor, and I think Carl was also disappointed when he saw that Victor is out of the Champions League space, and then they put somebody like Carson in there. They put Rodri, who's injured, Bob, who's injured. Why Victor is fully fit. So let me ask you something, Kilkster. Carl, you can also jump in here. If you are crying for this defender, Carl, and Carl, Kilkster and I were following these signings, and you could see our hashtags that were going nowhere, but they still worked. So you go and say, oh, we're not going to give you for a loan. We want him right now. Doesn't that give intent that we want him right now to come and start? Or were they just trying to do that so that Madrid and Barcelona and other teams wanted to put their hands on him not to do it? Because even if you put him on loan, he's all yours, isn't it? So, but why bring the kid here? A kid who they say is one of the best 1v1 defenders in that league. He's very smart. He can even play DM. He can play right back and left back. That's what they say. And they say this kid will be in the Brazilian national team. If he wasn't even bought by City, the Brazilian national team was still considering to bring him in. So why bring that kid? Not put him in the Champions League list. Okay, we understand. But if he's not on the Champions League list, why are you forcing injured defenders like Ake to play? And Husinov is on the bench. Husinov, who has been recorded as one of the fastest defenders in Europe, one of the most aggressive attackers, who won his tackles. So all these kicks are putting together. You made a good point. I want you to stick to it. Why do we bother doing that? Like, why do we bother saying you don't go on loan? Come here to do what? I thought it's been bed him into the team. Why is he not being played at all? He's not being played at all.
We played in the FA Cup game, but I'm like, when else are we going to see him? I know that this was like that was definitely a Hugo Viana signing, because from what I've heard, Viana had been scouting him for a while, and the fact that we got him was kind of a coup, because, like you said, other top teams were scouting him. Like Real Madrid wanted him, Arsenal were looking at him. I think even Liverpool were looking at him. I could be wrong on that, but. So for us to get him was a big deal. Like Viana can see the future. Viana knows that is, he needed to get those in now. The problem is Viana knows what to do right now, and Pep just won't do it. Pep is being stubborn. He keeps saying in his conferences, yeah, he misses his guys. He wants his guys, but he's not understanding that his guys are just they're not good anymore. They have been going up and down for 7-8 years. There is nothing left. And asking players to play injured, I think is negligence. I don't know exactly the full story there, but it's very clear that these guys who are rushing back from injury, they're not fully fit. And it just because they're playing doesn't mean they're fit. We're not getting the best out of them. And that's going to hurt our performances. And I get that these are tough games, but I just don't think we have a choice right now. I really think you have to take a risk, and you have to put these kids in. They're professional adults. They have to grow up at some point. That you can't just baby them forever. Especially Husanov. He's 21 years old, and he's been starting in Ligue 1 for 2 years now. So he's not somebody you need to baby. I can understand with Greece slightly because he's 18 and this and that, but Husanov, you don't need to baby him. Just throw him in.
I just don't understand. I don't understand. And the thing is, obviously people in the comments, I'm sorry, it's just that I'm on the phone, so it's very difficult. When somebody makes a phone call, it cuts off. So I'm sorry about that at this point in time. But I'm fixing my laptop as we speak. But now going to the question. So you're saying the injuries, Carl says it's due to arrogance. What about yourself, Carl? Carl, do you think it's just arrogance? But where does it stem from? Does it stem from that time when you and me, Carl, were saying, why are we not buying players? So it stems from. Does it stem from 2 summers ago when we won the treble? Because these players, first of all,
it does.
Yeah, go ahead.
100% it does. You build from a position of strength, not from one of weakness.
Yeah.
Right. Great teams build. You build from a position of strength. When we got 100 points in 17-18. What did we buy the next season? Oh, we got Laporte, I believe, in January. And then we got Mahrez. Oh, we added more strength to the squad. Good strength to the squad. We still had Raheem Sterling. We still had Leroy Sané. We still had David Silva. We added Laporte and Riyad Mahrez, a winner, to the squad. No surprise, these guys go on to win so many titles. 4 in a row, 98 points, quadruple domestic treble. Okay. Then what happens in the treble season? What happens after that? We go and do what? Who did we buy of quality? We brought back what? Ilkay Gundogan. We brought Kovacic from Chelsea, who they didn't want. Who else?
Joshko is the only quality we bought.
Which is value. Correct. I agree with that one, right? So, and then you say you want a small squad. I like a small squad. Well, if you have a small squad and they want so much and they go again, at some point, your small squad is going to break down. Then what do you do then? You're looking for the perfect player to play the perfect position in the rotation. What if they're all injured? What happens then? And then they have the fitness. This is what happens. Why? Because I only can do it. No, it's about the players. You get the players who can do the job. Let them do it. You have Kusanov and Hayes and Marmoush. And who? Gonzalez. You're telling me they couldn't start against Madrid?
They would.
I am shocked Marmoush didn't start. Absolutely shocked.
Look at the center back.
You're telling me, Patrick. You're telling me, right? You're telling me, Patrick, right? You're telling me that with that backline of Madrid, you play Haaland and Marmoush as a 2, or some form where Marmoush goes to Haaland, that you can attack those 2 midfielders, center backs.
Yeah,
and then we could have scored more goals, and maybe the collapse doesn't happen, or we still win. Like if we score 4 or 5 goals, then we can handle that collapse. We still win the game. And to go defensive like that against that back line was, I did not understand it. I figured that you do that at the Bernabeu, like do 5 at the back at the Bernabeu when you're trying to hold on to something. But when you're at home and you're facing a makeshift back line, you have to go for it. Especially with Husanov, because I'm sorry, with Marmoush, because he's one of the most informed like forwards like in Europe right now. Like when we got him, he was cooking. So to bench him, I think was just I didn't agree with that decision. I really think you needed to go for it at home.
Yeah, don't you also think about this? I'm not giving any. Oh, look. I know that the institutes are greedy, and they make players play a lot of games. But also, let's also blame it on Man City, and let's also blame it on Pep Guardiola, because Carl kept on saying to me that this Pep Guardiola guy will put us in shit, and I kept on telling Carl, I was like, calm down, it's fine, calm down. Do you remember the conversation you had with me, Carl? You said this guy with his small squad, with his arrogance of refusing to sign people, will one day it will bite us. I think we had this conversation. When you told me that at first, I was like, maybe Carl is just being over dramatic. But you were right. Because first of all, if you are willing to go for all cups, right? All the cups, the club accepts that, we're going to play in every tournament and win. We're not going to throw any tournament away. Now, Pep Guardiola, if you've noticed, since the treble season or before, he got rid of these Lavias, he got rid of these Delaps, players that maybe could, Palmer, players that could cover in these other cups when these other players need. But do you remember, Carl? He played how many games did Rodri play? And regardless the fact that Rodri doesn't need to play even in an FA Cup useless game or Carabao Cup, do you remember he still brought him in? He still played him.
Rodri was crying out for help. We all know that,
begging,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
And look what it took for him to get rest. That we cannot have that. Like I'm scared to death about the minutes that Haaland and Yashko are playing right now. I sent some clips to or some screenshots to Patrick before the stream. Haaland and Yashko have both played 3,000 minutes just for club this season. That's not counting their country. I looked that up separately. Yashko has played 6 games for his country, and he's played in 90 minutes in every single one of them. Haaland has played 90 minutes in all but like 2 of them. And those were like 87 and 90 or like 87 and like 67 or something. So they are racking up the minutes this season. That's going to come back to bite us next season if we cannot rotate these guys a little bit. Can you imagine if we lose Haaland for 3 months next season? We're screwed.
Yeah, but then you that's what it comes down to, the fact that all of them that are greedy, that okay, we'll play all the cups, but why don't you rotate? Because what's the point sometimes of seeing Ruben Diaz play in the FA Cup game? Do you remember that time he played Ruben Diaz in the FA Cup game and he got injured? Like, why is he chasing these kids, telling them, I can't give you minutes? Why there's minutes to play in the Carabao Cup? I don't want to see any of the seniors in the Carabao Cup. Rest them, let them rest. I don't want to see Nathan Ake playing a left back or centre back in the Carabao Cup. Like, this is where these injuries are coming from. And this behavior where you read saying, they said after the treble, they were like, our squad is too good. If somebody comes in, and I bet you that's what they were telling the youngsters, Kilkster. That's what they were telling Palmer. That's what they were telling Delap. They're too good for you to be here, isn't it? And Carl has said it many times. Other teams will tell you no. Carl, you remember you told me that other teams will tell Delap or Palmer that no, you're staying. Palmer's under contract. They'll say, Palmer, you're staying. Wait for your contract to go. They'll tell you, wait for your contract to go. Alvarez, a World Cup winner. And I remember when Carl warned us, Kilkster, that please, guys, this Alvarez guy, you guys keep complaining that he's playing in midfield. You one day cry over him. Don't let him go. And when he was going, Carl's like, don't let him go. Tell him to sit down on the bench and sob. He's got 4-year contract. What is he going to do? He's going to sob, but he's going to play. We let him go, and we didn't even replace him. And the replacement was offered. Yeah, I know the replacement was 28, 29 years old.
If Alvarez was the reason why we won that fourth Premier League title,
he was. People don't know.
People abused him because he wasn't De Bruyne-esque. They abused him because he was losing the ball in the midfield. Go watch it. Go ask how many goals he scored in that season. Go, Kelso, do the analysis of how many goals he scored.
You see,
I got 20,
You see,
What do you have, like
this myth
28
of
or 30, 34 GNA last season, something like that?
yeah.
Yeah,
You see,
so how many
I'm telling
apart
you,
from
this myth
Haaland?
of saying,
Who else had
losing ball
that
midfield,
No one.
doesn't matter. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Well,
Go ahead.
Foden did really well, but we have got to spread the goals out more.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're putting too much pressure on Holland
No,
right
so
now.
so you know sometimes when we talk we get lots of abuse because international American, what do you know about the game? Listen, watch the game, coach the game. Alvarez was the jewel. He was the lucky charm. He was the guy. Yes, Foden did great, but Alvarez was doing the dirty work off and on the ball. He
His
was the one who was available
pressing.
when Haaland went down, when De Bruyne went down. It was Alvarez, and then he says, "I'm not happy. I want to leave. I have a 3-year contract, 4-year contract." No, sit your ass down. Where you going? You want more
We
game time?
really
Okay,
miss
more
his
game time.
pressing. That guy was a pressing machine, and our press is dead this season.
Yeah, you
But,
see,
but it is what it is. I got people say, "Oh, he's gone. Forget about But the lessons that
underrated.
have you learned the lessons from what happened? Have you learned the lessons? You buy three. You buy three in January, Patrick.
They used
You
to
buy three in
abuse Riyad Mahrez. Cow, they used to remember they used to abuse Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah,
They used to abuse him.
But you know,
No,
you
they
buy
call him
three in
lazy.
January, and we go back to the reason
I
why
never
there's so many injuries, right? The injuries because we have a small squad, we overuse those players too many games, and they're going to get injured. They're not robots. Even the robot will break down. So the question is, okay, you've blown the safety valve by adding 4 players to the squad, Kelster. Can you use them in these games? No, I'm going to keep them on the bench and use the same guys. I'm going to play Akanji again because it's Real Madrid at home. He's red line, then he gets injured again.
Well, there were games earlier in the season that some of these minutes should have come from, because then they would have, gotten their feet wet. But the problem is we have not been putting any games away this season. And usually when you have like a large lead at the end of the game, that's when you start subbing people out. And actually, I think those little, like if you take Rodri off in this the 70th minute or something like that, I think that's what keeps him fresher, not necessarily skipping games. But we haven't been putting teams away. And it was the same issue last season. So everybody had to play 90 minutes every game to hold on to leads. And these kids aren't getting chances. Usually those are those minutes they would like eat up. And because of that, they're lacking the experience. And so now they're not trusted. So it's just this weird, it's like this perpetuating cycle. It just doesn't end.
Kilkster, I have an answer for Veta. Veta says, "All clubs struggling with injuries." Yes, they are. But guess what the other clubs do? They are willing to put Conor Bradley as a right back. They are willing to bring in Curtis Jones and keep him in the team. They are willing.
Remember Klopp's kids last season?
Yeah, yes, and Arsenal is willing to bring in a 17-year-old as a winger who dunked on us.
Yeah.
They are willing to bring an 18-year-old fullback. Guess what we did with our 18-year-old fullbacks? We sent one who's 23 to Dortmund while he was here, and Kaboli, who used to play in the Prem. We brought him from Benfica, and then we sent him to Germany, and then Esbrand, yes, people were against him, but he's still a fullback. We sent him elsewhere. Let me tell you something. What's wrong with this squad is, in these recent years, some of the youngsters have just been sent away. And I get it. There was no space, but sometimes you have to be smart. Was there really no space, or it was just a matter of Kilkster says there's loyalty to certain odd people that don't want to be dropped, even if it's an FA Cup tie? Yeah, if there's an FA Cup tie, somebody still wants to play. That's still greedy to play instead of giving it to Liam Delap or giving it to Lavia. I know Lavia is getting injured a lot, but one person this season I'm pissed off about and I'm not happy about is the fact that we had Jacob Wright, who is a midfielder, and he was sitting there while Gundogan is trying to hold somebody's shirt or run after them. I'm telling you. Look at Kevin laughing. So you laughing.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I did want to make a point about why we're selling all these players.
Yeah,
the PSR system is incentivizing us to sell them because it's profit. So for us to buy all of these players, we need money to buy them. When we sell academy players, it's pure profit. So when you sell Cole Palmer, that's 45 million profit. We use that money to buy Doku. So this system is not incentivizing us to keep our players. It is incentive. Sorry. Sorry, I'm having a coughing fit right now. So yeah, this system is designed for us to get rid of the Jacob Wrights and the Cole Palmers and the Morgan Rogers and all these players.
I don't mind
No,
those
that's
ones.
just football. That's just business. Like, and honestly, we have business people running, like Ferran Soriano is a business guy. He's there to make money. So he doesn't care about the sentimentality of academy players, and he just wants the profit.
Yeah, look, we have been the best-selling club for the past 4 years, according to the records. But this is my other thing is, we are struggling, right? Send Gundogan on loan then. I'm sorry. Send this. I'm telling you.
I think we're gonna get rid of Gundo this summer.
Look. Carl went to watch football. He went to watch one of the games live, and he told me that when he saw O'Reilly, he saw a talent. And he's shocked till the date of today why O'Reilly doesn't get played in that midfield. Carl, what game was it? Was it the Champions League? He came on. Is Carl still with us?
I can't remember, mate.
He came on. It was the Champions League. He came on one of the games, and he was actually playing very well as a midfielder.
It was.
But no,
I can't remember which game it was. But he was playing
guess
well.
who gets brought in? Grandfathers and pensioners are the ones who got brought in. And then when these grandfathers and pensioners are getting injured, he's complaining, saying, "I need my squad. We can't run." All I'm saying is invest properly. Look at Kingston. He's laughing. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
You keep calling them pensioners, and I don't know why it's just setting me off.
They are though. What are they? They are. Like, it's sad to see, but they are. But anyway, so these injuries are only not even the club itself. You're saying that business people. That's why they keep jumping into these tournaments. And I apologize to Carl, because Carl is like, this small squad behavior is gonna hurt us, because we are a club who's looking to win everything. Why doing a small club behavior? And the other thing, I think it's a cop-out. I think Pep, at a point in time, he loves control, and control was getting out of him. And he was unable to balance it. Things were good 2017, but after 2017, he even said on a press saying, "Oh, people were complaining, saying, when are you going to play me?" Then I think he lost like a sort of control, saying, "I need control here." And then he says, "I'm going to make a small squad." And I think our club also has to stop this behavior, saying, "Oh, I want to go, goodbye." You know why? Because some people seem to be begged. One man has been begged for years in this club. One man seems to be begged. It's only Bernardo Silva who's been begged over and over.
Bernardo has been trying to leave for years.
I know.
And Pep is like ball and chaining him to this starting 11.
I know. And I wouldn't be surprised if he starts against Newcastle. And I won't be surprised at all. And you know what? He says it was Cambiaso who broke his foot.
I heard this too. I did hear about. I heard we had the deal agreed, and that he failed his medical because of his foot issue.
Well, we bought Gundogan on a wheelchair.
Well, Gundogan didn't have any health problems. And to be fair, we didn't think we were going to see Gundogan every single game during that stretch. I do think he has some value on the squad. Like that cup game that he played, I think was perfect. Because you say don't start the starters. Well, Gundogan is there to chew up those minutes in those pointless cup games. So if that's all he was used for this season, none of us would be ripping on him. But the problem was that Kovacic got injured for a month and he had to play every game, and we realized how washed he was. But I think on a one-off cup game every now and then, you can throw him out there for 90 minutes, whatever. You got to have somebody to deputize the children out there. He's fine for that, but he can't start games anymore, and he should not be coming on either. Late in a big game when it's close, like you just can't put him on there.
Okay, so I have sorry man, I wish I could read all these, but it's tiny. It's tiny. I can't even see. It says, to be fair, players. Okay, I'd have to be close. To be fair, player sales.
I can read it. Do you want me to read it? I have full screen.
I can read it. It's like this. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, he says, to be fair, player sales to the likes of Palmer, Morgan, Rogers, Lavia is down to managers and fans as well. The fans want every single player to look good. Want to look good on 2.5-minute YouTube highlights. Pep doesn't trust the academy much. He may come to press conferences and say all the nice things about the young players, and he doesn't give them a chance. So he'd rather bring in 40-50 million that leads to the club selling the academy, which is what I was saying. I think it's a pure business move, because these are pure profit, PSR. The system incentivizes it.
You've got an admirer here. I can see this one. Your American accent is so strong and beautiful. Okay.
West
Which
Coast,
Ameri-
baby. West
there's,
Coast.
there's two American accents, so you have to identify which one, because there's two American accents on the thing.
We're
Says,
from other sides of the country, though, so we have very different accents.
yeah, it says, would City fans have preferred to keep Walker until the end of the season?
No, Walker needed to go because the abuse he was getting was disgusting. And I think it would have just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse as the season progressed if he hadn't left.
He's getting good performances. I see his ratings are very good for AC Milan.
I just don't think he's at that level to be a top performer in the Premier League anymore. But Serie A is definitely a slower league, so he looks faster when he's going up against slower players.
Okay.
And yeah, that was the perfect thing for him to do. Honestly, because I don't think he was good enough. I think the burden of being captain was too much. And you could see his performance was declining. When he played, almost every game he played, he directly was responsible for a goal. So his performance was hurting the team. So it's best that he's gone. I think mentally, for his mental health, because you could see him on social media. It was getting to him. He was reading everything. He was posting about it. Other clubs were dunking on him, like that Aston Villa game where we lost 2-0. Aston Villa literally posted a picture of Morgan Rogers like jumping over him or something, and then their caption was like, "Yeah, Morgan Rogers, great game," or something like that. And like that's another club doing that. That's not just like some dumb teenagers on Twitter. And then there was that one account that became like the Kyle Walker hater account and was posting these disgusting memes, like comparing him to like people who have committed actual atrocities. They were comparing Walker to that, and that's just unfair. Like nobody should have to go through that. So
I know,
for him to leave, I think was best for his mental health.
I know, and I think I was shameless enough to be watching some of those videos. So apologies, Walker. Yeah. I think I was shameless to also watch those videos. But anyway, I wanted to ask though. So before we close out, guys, subscribe if you're new, like the video. Unfortunately, I'm trying to fix my laptop, and it's not even giving me a chance to reinstall things. It's going halfway and just switching off. Okay, so Kilkster and Carl. I'll start with Carl. How do we go forward with minimizing injuries right now with what we have? So we don't have these, because Diaz might be next, and if Diaz gets injured, we're going to start.
You have to
guaranteed Stones and Ake will get injured. It's guaranteed.
You have to just use the new players that you have. You just have to use them, rotate them in. You have to trust them. If this is a season where we do nothing, fine, but don't kill the other guys because you're too scared to use these young players. It just doesn't make one white by them.
Also, killing them now means next season they're going to be awful. They're not going to get the recovery they need.
Do you remember when Liverpool had injuries to Van Dijk and the other way they went? They got
that's when we saw Kwanzaa, isn't it? That's when we saw Kwanzaa.
Yeah, so they made top four, but they came back stronger next year.
Yeah.
So just use the kids that you have, coach them. Right? That's why you
also, these players we bought. I know Victor Hayes is a kid. Like, I don't think Kusanov's a kid. Nico Gonzalez is not a kid, and Marmoush is not a kid. Like, you have to play them. Like, you don't have a choice. Like, figure it out. I'm a little concerned, though, about this Marmoush. I'm starting to wonder if we're going to utilize him properly.
Yeah, go ahead. Speak.
Because, like, he's better when we play more direct, but Pep never wants to do that. He just wants to do possession ball with people who can't do it. And it's kind of, I mean, it's been wasting Haaland for a couple of years, but I'm really worried it's going to be wasting Marmoush too. Like, get Marmoush behind Haaland.
I was watching Marmoush. So my little boy loves Marmoush, loves him. Before he joined City, by the way, when he was at Frankfurt, because he watches all these games. But Bundesliga, he watches all the games. He just loves the way he plays. He attacks with kind of speed and verve, and the step overs. He likes to play like that. And you're watching him now, and he's saying, "Dad, what's going on with Marmoush? Why isn't he doing what he used to do at Frankfurt?" I'm like, well, they play different systems. The coach wants to do one thing. He wants them to give 1,000 million passes. Doesn't want them to attack directly. They want to control the game. And he's like, how can you control a game when it's 0-0? Who's on the control? Them or us? Right? Good point. And I've talked about this, Patrick. When it's 0-0, they're controlling you. You're not controlling them.
Yeah. You told me this. You told me that when it's 0-0.
The only time you're in control is when you're up a goal or two. You can control the game. If you're 0-0 and you're moving the ball left and right, you're not in control. They're controlling you.
Also, I have another thing. I just thought of this that I wanted to bring up before we cut off. There is a theory starting to go around that the reason the defenders are getting injured so often is because of the high line, and they're having because we're losing the ball so much, and they keep constantly having to sprint back. I know you're more of you two are both more tacticos than I am, so maybe you could elaborate on that a little bit. But that's a theory I have heard in the last day or two.
Yeah, I mean the high intensity
Style
sprints, defensive high intensity sprints. Maybe it is something. I just think it's just the number of games they played, and the small squad, and a small squad. Right?
But I saw it somewhere else.
You have a small squad. You're playing so many games with the same people all the time, every 3 days. Something has to give.
Yeah,
something.
And they've been playing every 3 games for like 4 or 5 straight years too. Eventually, you just run out of gas.
Yeah, something has to give.
Your body just can't do it anymore.
Yeah. There's this concept called Patrick, you guys can check it out online. And we learned this in our coaching thing, is periodization, right? How do you manage the recovery cycle of players who have to perform on the weekend or play midweek? You have to train. How do you balance the recovery to make sure they're at peak for the game? What's a rest cycle? It's called a periodization. Check it out. We don't have any. Every 3 days, same guys playing. So it makes sense to me now when they teach us that stuff. You don't have it. The only way you have that is by having a larger squad to be able to rotate players in and out of games. It's the only way. So, for example, let's say you have a game on the weekend on a Saturday. Let's say you had a game on a Sunday, right? And you have a game on a Saturday. How do you manage the workload for recovery? You need at least 24 to 48 hours to recover, right? Prepare for the game on the weekend. Make sure they're at peak level and not burn them out during the week practice. Then you add a game midweek. How do you balance those 2 or 3 days in between to get them ready for the next game at peak performance? Going through that curve, there's a down curve after the game. They have to pick back up to the levels they're at. How do you manage that? The only way you manage that is by having a larger squad. There's no other way. I mean, Patrick, I'll share the graph with you of the example from our course, right? Our license course. It's there.
Yeah.
When they showed it to us, we're like, wow. So if I have a game on the weekend, I've had a game on Sunday, I have a game on Saturday coming up. How do I manage the workload to get them to recover back in my maintenance session? There's fitness, there's maintenance, there's recovery. Maintenance session to get them back up to speed, and they prepare to get them to peak performance on the weekend. There's a down curve. It goes up. You have to manage that level and then prepare them for the weekend. When you have 2 games in a week, 3 games a week, you can't do it unless you have a larger squad. So for those who are out there, I highly recommend they go research this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Periodization, maintenance, and fitness schedules. It's there. You can't miss it. Now, Pep and Co, they know this stuff, right? Which is why he's always complaining about the number of games, because he knows that recovery cycle is not there. Okay, if it's not there, get more players and who can do it. You can rotate. But no, you want a small squad. You can't have both worlds. You can't have a small squad, have all these games, short recovery periods, short maintenance, and have them at peak performance. It's not going to happen.
Also, we forget that rotation doesn't mean like being dropped. It could mean just coming off early in a game and resting for an extra 20 or 30 minutes. Like maybe you get subbed off in the 65th, 70th minute. Like that can be considered rotation. Like you can still start every game, but you don't have to finish all of them.
Yeah,
unless it's a big game, save it for a big game. But you don't necessarily need to play the full 90 at Ipswich.
Yeah, but Kelsey, if we take the Madrid game again, okay, the challenge there, halftime, you're taking off
okay,
right?
De Bruyne.
Okay, fine.
Should have taken De Bruyne off.
Yeah, I fine, right? But then you bring on Rico Lewis against Vinicius Jr.
That wasn't planned, though. I mean, that was only done because Akanji got injured. But I did hear that Ake sub was planned just because he's just coming back.
I hear you, right? But then you bring on Rico Lewis against Vinicius Jr. You bring him on.
That's on the manager then.
So
the manager made that choice.
That was.
He can live with the consequences.
For me, Patrick, that was the moment I said, nah.
Everybody did.
You're having a laugh here, right?
People who went to the game said the stadium was like, uh-oh.
Of course, the stadium was like, uh-oh. That's why the stadium was silent in the second half. Everybody
happy.
There's
not fair to Rico either.
There is no WhatsApp chat. That's a City fan chat. And when that boy came on, all of us said it was over. You know why? Because we knew. We all knew. If he had brought Kusanov on, we say, okay, manager played his hand. We lost, fine. At least the manager played his hand and he tried. It's on the player. But to play Rico against Vinny Jr., what Madrid did? Overload him twice, 2v1, all the time.
Yeah, they
You're
changed
gonna
their
invert into
entire
midfield.
strategy.
Go ahead, Rico. Go invert into midfield. Go do your fancy dance in midfield. I'm going to stay high and wide as Vinny Jr. And when they get the ball, they're going to transition to me quickly. I'm going to attack that back line because you're absent. Go check how many times his recovery runs was behind Vinny Jr. Go see that. It's facts. It's not emotion. It's facts. He's not good enough to play that position in a quality team at the highest level. He's just not good enough. And he's been exposed to pretend to be there, and he's getting killed. There is no Premier League club in the top 6 that will have that kid as a right back. None. Not even Forest will have him as a right back.
Yeah, they won't. They won't. And there's a question here by
So we can pretend and deceive ourselves and make those excuses because he's a local guy. His dad is a boxer. He's a local guy from the area. No, call a spade a spade. He ain't good enough to play right back for us.
No.
Period. And he's not good enough to play midfield.
If he's good enough to play right back for us, they couldn't be going in January looking for one right back. There's a question here by some guy called Veta who keeps sending questions. He says, "What did you guys think of Kusanov's debut?"
I think he was very nervous to start the game. That was clear. And then there was that miscommunication with the Kanji.
Because after
that moment, after that yellow card he got, I think he settled down and I thought he performed well.
The thing you have to look for is when a player makes a mess in their debut, how do they recover? What do they do? Are they more composed? Do they grow with confidence as the game goes on?
Mm-hmm.
If you see that, you pass.
And
there
he did.
Very few players who make their debut after joining the club after the first week come into a high-level game and are completely 100%. Laporte, when Laporte came on, I remember that 17-18 season. Laporte came on January. We bought him. He played the first game coming back. Go watch Laporte. He was nervous. So he just passed the ball easy, no mistakes, just little passes here. You could tell that he was nervous. But we played, I think it was Huddersfield or someone like that. I can't remember who we played, right? Some other team. It wasn't Chelsea.
It was Huddersfield because the manager
was Huddersfield. Right? Yeah, my memory. Yeah, it was Huddersfield. Right? He was very careful, and he grew into the season. So for me, he did fine. The fact that he could recover against Chelsea, Buddy Jackson 1v1, and still recover, it was cool. And then when he came on against the last game we played, the FA Cup, was it whoever we played? Whoever the name we played.
Oh, he was excellent in that game.
Great. It was great.
Yeah, and I thought the way that Pep managed that was actually really brilliant. The fact that he had both of the new defenders and he paired them with somebody more experienced. And I thought that was a really good approach.
So why not use it? Why bring on Rico? Maybe because Stones went back to
it cost him the game, so he's got to answer those questions.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nah, the
thing is though, is Real Madrid, they might have still targeted Husanov, but it might have been the exact same approach. Like, let's just target him because he's the new guy. But I trust him more physically to deal with Vinicius. And I think he would have bodied him at least once to make him think twice about some of these moves he's making. He would have been like, oh, you're going to do that? Well, I'm going to send you to the floor type thing. And I'm going to bruise you up. I'm going to bully you as well. So that might have, the result might have been the same, but maybe it could have been different. Maybe that's the difference between a draw and a loss.
Yeah, so we're going to cut it here. Yeah, he usually joins the panel, but I sent the link already, but I think he wasn't available. We'll do another panel and Veta can join. Veta is one of my friends, so don't worry about that. He'll join the panel. But thank you very much, guys. I will try fix my laptop, and somehow you still can't even restart it. It's before it gets system gets restarted, it's switching off. So I don't even think we're gonna get there. But subscribe to the channel, guys. We're trying to get to 4K. Like the video. Follow the panel if you want to find them. I'm pretty sure you can find them on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter too. We'll see you for the Newcastle game. Hopefully, then before the Newcastle game, this laptop, the other computer will be here, or this laptop will fix itself. But the other computer, I'm pissed off. They say delays of 3 days. I don't know why they're doing that. I wrote them a very angry email. I don't usually do that, but I wrote a very angry email that I don't think they're gonna like when they wake up in the morning in Germany or whatever time it is there. But thank you very much, Kirkstan. Thank you very much, Kundoroy, and everybody in the comments. Big up to you, all of you. Big up to you, Veta, with your questions. We tried to get to all your questions, but we couldn't. send them in my emails. I'll answer them via email. Okay, I'll see you.
Snail
Anyway.
mail at this rate.
I'll see you anyway. Let's just support the team. We'll be back for the Newcastle. Hopefully, we'll get a panel. If no panel, I'll do a solo show. See you.